Today I'm going to read the story of Big Al. Take a look at Big Al behind me. Big Al is a big, scary looking fish. But sometimes, even though something looks scary, it doesn't mean that it acts scary. So today I'm going to read you the story of Big Al, and I want you to think about all the different ways that Big Al tries to make friends in the story. After I read the story, we're going to create our own big, scary looking fish that can puff up. Big Al by Andrew Clemens Yoshi. Big Al. In the wide blue sea, there was a very friendly fish named Big Al. You could not find a nicer fish. But Big Al was also very, very scary. Other fish seemed to have at least one friend. Some had many, but Big Al had none. He did not really blame other fish. How could he expect little fish to trust a great big fish with eyes and skin and teeth like his? So Big Al was lonely and cried big salty tears into the big salty sea. But Big Al really wanted friends, so he worked at it. First he tried wrapping himself up in seaweed. He thought it was a great disguise. No one else did. Who wants to stop and talk to a floating plant that has big sharp teeth? Then he thought that if he puffed himself up big and round, the other fish would laugh and see how clever and silly he could be. All they saw was how big he could be, and that made them steer clear. Very early one morning, Big Al went down to the bottom and flopped and wiggled himself into the sand until he was almost covered up. He looked much smaller. When other fish came near, Big Al talked and joked with them and had a delightful time. But then one scratchy little grain of sand got stuck in his gills, and he sneezed. When the clouds of sand cleared away, all the other fish were gone. Big Al even changed his color one day so he could look like he belonged to the school of tiny fish passing by. He bubbled along with them for a while, laughing and feeling like he was just one of the crowd. But he was so big and clumsy that when all the tiny fish darted and left, and then quickly back to the right, Big Al just plowed straight ahead. He went on bumping and thumping right into the little fish. Before he could even say, "Excuse me," they were gone, and he was all alone again, this time sadder than ever. Just when Big Al was starting to be sure that he would never have a single friend, something strange happened. He was floating along, sadly watching some of the smaller fish, and he was wishing that he could come closer. As he watched, a huge net dropped down silently from above, and in an instant, all the little tiny fish were gone. Big Al forgot all about being lonely, and he forgot all about being sad. His eyes bulged out bigger and rounder than ever, and with a mighty flip of his tail, he opened his mouth and charged straight at the net. The net was strong, but Big Al was stronger. He ripped right through it, and all the fish fell out through a hole in the net. But when Big Al tried to turn around and go out of the hole, he got tangled up in the net. He was stuck. The net went higher and higher towards the bright surface of the sea, and the little fish watched Big Al as he disappeared above them. When the little fish were able to speak again, all they talked about was the huge, wonderful fish that had saved them. How great to be free, and what a shame the big fellow had been captured. But just then there was a tremendous crashing splash above them, and the small fish dashed away. Was it the net again? Not at all. It was Big Al. Those fishermen took one look at him and threw him right back into the ocean. And now there is one huge, puffy, scary, fierce-looking fish in the sea who has more friends than anyone else. Big Al. The end. To create our fish, the first step is folding our paper in half. Now put the paper on the table with the fold at the top and fold up 1/2 of your paper so that it lines up with the top. Now our fish will be able to pop out and puff up. The next step is to draw your fish on both sides of the paper. After you finish your fish, you can open up your paper, and now you're going to connect the bottom part of your fish to the top part, but you can also draw how your fish looks when it puffs up, like Big Al did in the story. Make sure to try to connect any of the details of the fish. So here I have to draw more scales in the middle. Now it's your turn to create a big fish. After you make your drawing, you can upload your drawing to assignments, or you can send it to me to my email. I'm looking forward to seeing your artwork.